When a student turns 18, that student gains the legal rights and responsibilities of an adult. This process happens automatically and occurs even if a student has a disability. It doesn't matter what kind of disability a student has. Every person, once they turn 18, gains the right to make decisions about their own life.
This decision-making power extends to school. Once a student turns 18, they can decide whether they want to attend school, gain the right to control access to their school information, and take the place of their parents on the IEP team. This video will focus on 3 of the main rights students with disabilities receive in school once they turn 18, and the ways your family can prepare for this change. The first right is the right to no longer attend school. In Ohio, students are required to attend school between the ages of 6 and 18. Once a student turns 18, they can make the decision to not attend school anymore if they do not want to. Students with disabilities may be able to attend school up to age 22 if they choose. For more information, check out our video on graduation and extended eligibility. If a student is under 18, their parents have the legal right to request and access their school information. This includes documents like report cards, special education records like the IEP, and communication to and from the school. However, once a student turns 18, they have the right to control access to that information. This means schools will send records directly to students, and schools may have to ask for a student's permission before sharing records with parents or families. An important right that students with disabilities gain once turning 18 is becoming their own special education decision maker. If the student has an IEP, this means they gain all the rights their parents had as the IEP decision maker. As decision makers, the school will begin directly communicating with the student. In many cases, schools will no longer communicate directly with the parent unless the student agrees to the communication. The student will attend their own IEP meetings and take the place on the IEP team that their parents once held. The student will be responsible for advocating for their own needs, unless they invite someone to act as an advocate on their behalf. Student decisions regarding school cannot be overridden by their parents. These changes can be overwhelming and frightening for both parents and students. However, you can make the transition to adulthood easier if you know your rights and prepare ahead of time. Adult students have the right to involve their family in school decisions. Students can give the school permission to share documents with their parents, can ask that the school communicates directly with their parents, and can ask that the school invite their parents to IEP and other school meetings. Students can ask their parents for advice and request that they act as their special education advocate in a meeting. If a student does not have the capacity to make decisions for themselves, there are ways to legally preserve a parent's rights to make decisions on their behalf, such as guardianship. For most students, however, this is not an appropriate option. Most students can learn how to make decisions for themselves. You can work on these skills together as a family. The best way to prepare for the new rights and responsibilities a student will receive once they turn 18 is to practice self-advocacy skills ahead of time. Self-advocacy is the student's ability to express their needs, ask for help, and plan for their own future. A student who is a good self-advocate is able to identify their goals, what supports they need to achieve that goal, and request those supports. Self-advocacy is a skill that can be learned, just like math or reading. One way to help a student learn self-advocacy skills is to involve them in their own IEP. Students can attend their own IEP meetings at any age, and the school is required to invite them to meetings once they turn 14. Encouraging students to ask questions about their IEPs, explain their needs, and make choices is a great way to develop self-advocacy. If a student's disability makes self-advocacy particularly difficult for them, it can even be taught as part of the IEP. Schools are required to develop transition goals for special education students once they turn 14. For more information on what transition goals are, check out our video on transition planning and transition resources. Students with disabilities can also be linked with Ohio's Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, OOD, once they turn 14. This agency can help connect the student to job training resources. For more information, check out our video on vocational rehabilitation.
Many families can feel caught off guard when a student turns 18 and the school stops sending them information or inviting them to IEP meetings. Some families can even feel betrayed by the school, but it's important to remember that this is a legal requirement and that it will happen automatically when the student turns 18. The best way to manage this transition is to prepare for it.